whiskey friends, far and wide, we are live. What's up, y'all? Eric, your humble malt muser, beaming the old whiskey tube signal from my home base here in Chicago. What is good, everybody? It has been a while, and so I wanted to get on, see how folks are doing. Hope everybody had a good rest of your summer. Although I suppose it's still technically summer, right? I'm warming things up with a little Klein Leash 14 to get the palate ready. We got a couple really good whiskeys that we're going to dive into. So before we do that, though, I got to say hi to the folks who are already here in the old chat. And first in the door, it's our good friend, Mr. French, up there in Duluth. How you doing, sir? Midwest. He's drinking a Lag 8. Oh, great. Good call. That fitting with the theme. Donner Pass. How you doing, man? Out there in California. Hope you're doing good, buddy. Good to see you here. Folks saying hi. Peter White up in Ontario holding it down. Mr. White. What's good, buddy? Nice to see you in the house. Got a few more. There's our friend out in Los Angeles. James Chang. K&L. The best spirit geeks and connoisseurs. Yes, that is a fact. If only we all could have K&L stores around us. Unfortunately, I have to settle for a little bit less than that. But it's not too bad here. Awesome. We got 8 folks in already. 9, Mather. What's up, y'all? Great to see you. Say hi in the chat. We're going to dive right into this. So, as I mentioned, it's been a little while. Had a good rest of my summer. Taking things easy. I'll be putting out some more reviews and stuff soon as we head into autumn and winter. Today, we're going to uncork a bottle that I've been sitting on for a while, and I also have 2 really good samples generously shared with me by a whiskey friend, Guy, out in Virginia. So cheers if you are in the house checking this out. We're going to dive right in with the first one. Jack, the Pickled Hound, is here. What's up, buddy? How's New York? Good to see you, sir. Mike McDonald. Nice to see you, man. Thanks for the Banash tip. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, great shop. I'm glad you got to go out there. Good stuff. Nice to see you, bud. Okay, I had to pull up the notes on these for these samples. So the first sample that he sent me, which is what we're going to start with first, this is a 24-year-old Bunnahabhain. It is from First Edition, so it's an independent bottle, 49.6%. It is refill bourbon cask, and it was distilled 1989, bottled 2014. So I've never had anything from First Editions before. I've had these sitting out for about 25, 30 minutes, so giving them the appropriate oxygen, which is warranted for a whiskey of this caliber. I'm very eager to jump in. I'd be curious if anybody's had anything from First Editions before. I'm really looking forward to the fact that we got a Bunna, and I got the Bunna glass. How fitting. So without further ado, I do not know actually how many of these were bottled or are available. I'm looking right now at our whiskey base, 214 bottles. So a pretty rare one indeed. I'd love to hear if anybody's had one of these before, but with that, I'm going to dive right in and check this out. I think we'll start with the Bunna and then do the Lagavulin 12 and then finish with the Bowmore because the Bowmore has a lot of port in it. So I figure that's probably the best way to do this, port and peat for that matter. So it's an Isla tour. Let's kick it off in style. Let's go. Ooh, wow. I've had some older Bunnahabhains before. I think I did a live with the 25-year-old Bunna once. And I think we even had a 28 at one point sample. And I'll tell you right now, the nose on this, much different. This is much grassier, a bit more vanilla forward. Of course, we're not getting the sherry that you get in the 25. So the one from the distillery. Don't think I've heard of that independent bottler. Yeah, it looks like they're called Edition Spirits is the bottler of the series is First Editions. Oh, he's got, Mr. White's had a few. Ben Navis. Wow, really nice. Yeah, the nose on this, it's very grassy. It's very, very bourbon driven as we would expect with the refill cask. Nice, though. It's got a nice little herbal bite in the back. That's awesome. Hey, Papa's in the house. What's up? Joined the 60 Club in 3 weeks. Congratulations, sir. I'll raise this glass to you. We'll raise a Bunnahabhain 24. I'd love to hear what anybody else is drinking if y'all got anything in your glasses right now. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of, there is a little bit of peat in this, and I think it's very faint, as you know, is usually the case with Bunas. Buttery, butterscotch, a bit of vanilla, grassy. All in all, a pretty pleasant nose. Not overly complex. Let's check it out. Oh, they're owned by Andrew Ling. There you go. Mr. White's on the case. Cheers, sir. Well, let's give it a taste. 24-year-old Buna. Great to get to share a couple drams with y'all on the live stream again after, geez, it's been over probably a month and a half. Let's check it out. It's lunch. Oh, boy. Wow. This is one of the more interesting Bunnahabhains I think I've had. It's got some foostiness to it. It doesn't have that kind of musty, dusty note that I get in a lot of Bunas, and that could be because there's not any sherry in this. It's got some good raw power to it, peatiness in the background, not smoke, but peat, butterscotch, vanilla, toffee. There's apple, maybe even pear, getting a lot of that kind of thing going on, even a little bit of saltiness, long finish. Oof, that's nice. Let me do another sip here. Donner's got a Ben Riek in the glass. Nice. 23-year-old. Wow. This is an interesting one. I have to say, the profile is just much different. I've not had a lot of independent bottled Bunnahabhains. The only one I think I've really had is the Stoisha, which is, of course, like really heavily peated. This one, full bourbon cask. I like how it's still got, I mean, for a 24-year-old, it's got that really nice mouthfeel, but it also has some power to it. Even at, it's 49.6, so it's a decent ABV. Be curious if anybody's had any just straight up bourbon cask Bunnahabhains, what your thoughts have been on them. This is definitely a different experience than the ones I've had before, that's for sure. Getting some of that lemon lime citrus in it. I'm surprised it's got as much kind of bite as it does, but I wouldn't say that that's a negative in this case. I feel like it's balanced really well. There's some chocolate in the background now. Long finish. First editions. I mean, clearly single cask. Obviously, this is only 214 bottles. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a tube. I only got sent these as samples, but good to know. Thank you for sharing the info. Whiskey Nose is in the house. What's up? How you doing? Great to see you, man. Good to have you in the house. Pickled Hound. This is 49.6. So 24 years, 49.6. All refill bourbon cask. Average at price on a bottle of this. Not really many reviews of it here on the Whiskey Base. I'm assuming since there's only 214, there's not a lot of folks that probably had this. Came out in 2014. It is non-chill filtered natural color. It says so explicitly on the label. Edition Spirits. It's nice. This is a good one to start with. Alecky 12. Did they put out any new one of those recently? I know that they're always constantly making new Alecky 12s out. This is nice. And there's this soft kind of butterscotch butteriness to it that's playing really well with the kind of boosty, almost slightly grassy herbal note. A little bit of that diesel kind of, I almost want to say it's peat. Definitely got some pop to it. The bourbon cask is really dancing well with this old age spirit. I'm pretty impressed. We're going to put a little water on it. The pitcher is full. We got some whiskeys to drink. I'm gonna do like maybe just 2 drops on here. I don't really want to drown this. Now the sweet fruit's coming. Apple cinnamon. Citrus. Honey. Wow. It's amazing what a little water could do. It's really changing the dynamic of this nose. It's more vibrant. It's sweeter. I mean, even at 25 minutes I had this out, it was still feeling maybe a little constricted, but wow. Yeah, much fruitier, fruit-driven nose. That's nice. Here we go. Perfumey, almost like a flower. Oh yeah. I'm gonna need to look at some Bunnahabhain bourbon casks in my future. It just got sweeter and more of a fruit element in it. Everything else is maintained. Surprising. I almost feel like there's little hints of smoke in here. You know how these Bunnas are. There's always like a little bit. Hey, Mike, out in Maryland. How's it going, buddy? Great to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, it has been a little while. Glad I could get on today. We're drinking a independent bottled first editions Bunnahabhain 24-year-old from 1989 bourbon cask. So just put some water on this. This is nice. I mean, I don't know how much a bottle of this would run. I can't imagine it's cheap at 24 years old. But I will say, really liking this, even without the sherry, which I think is what gives Bunna that almost characteristic note. I always say is like kind of like an old bookstore. It's kind of a musty, dusty note. I feel like that's a little bit more absent in this one, but it's not taking anything away. It's faint. The water is maybe bringing it up a little bit, but I might be searching. This is really nice. I can't say, yeah, like I said, I don't think I've had a Bunnahabhain that's in just bourbon cask before, and I'm pretty impressed. They make such good whiskey. Let me catch up on the chat here. Downer Pass, 2 Glenallachie 12 bottles I had years ago, pale in color. Yeah, I know. I think that they change it up pretty regularly, right? Coates is in the house. How you doing, buddy? Great to see you. Awesome to see some friendly faces here. It's been a while. Mr. White, a couple single malt Scotland releases, Macduff 10 and a Kalila 12. Crash strength, reasonable compared to others. Nice. Very nice. This is a first editions independent Bunnahabhain 24-year-old. It was distilled 1989, 49.6% bourbon cask. Really, really good stuff. The Booner maker for me is just that straw rotten hay note. Yeah. That's definitely some of what I'm getting here. It's much more prominent here with just the bourbon cask, at least compared to some of the other ones I've had. It's interesting. It's got a little bit of peat. You know how these Bunnas are. It's not like a Stoisha. It's not a heavily peated. There's definitely a little bit, but the star of the show here is really the malt. First editions. So this is a 24-year-old Bunna. This is one of the older Bunnas I've ever had. This is really nice. I want to just give a shout out again to Guy out in Virginia Beach, Virginia, for sending me this, and for the Bowmore Vintner's Trilogy 27-year-old, which we're going to get into, I think, last. Leaving that out to get some oxygen as well. Yeah, all in all, really, really nice. I think this is definitely making me, if nothing else, want to be more open to non-sherry Bunnas. Wow. That's good stuff. All right, y'all. While I sit on that, do let me know what you're drinking, because I'm going to uncork kind of, I guess, what we want to call the feature presentation, as it were. What I got here, I thought about opening this because I just read about the new Lagavulin 12 and the Diageo releases that are coming out. So we'll get into all that. But what I got here, we're going to uncork this now. This is a Lagavulin 12-year-old cask strength. One of the annual releases. This one was bottled in 2011. So this is 12 years ago. This is the oldest one that I think I own. And let's just do the specs on this. 57.5. I know they don't tell you if it's non-chill or natural on here. I wish they would. This is back when they still used kind of thick boxes too. It's kind of nice. Yeah, it doesn't really say, of course, but I think we can safely assume that at least in this case, they're not chill filtering or putting this any colorant in these. And so I bring this up because, well, first of all, it's getting, cool weather's around the corner, and for me, heavily peated whiskeys are usually playing more prominent in my glass in this time of year, and can't sit on this forever. So let's do it now. Look at this; it's still got the old the label on the top too. Classic old Lagavulin right here. Let's get this in the glass. Make sure this cork doesn't break. Ooh, there we go. So I bring this out, as I mentioned, in part because of this season, but also, you know, right around the corner is the Diageo releases of this year. And from what I've read, a couple interesting things. Oh, by the way, folks wanted to just get one more look at this bottle. This is an old one, 2011. You guys remember where you were at in 2011? This thing was probably $70 back then. So the new Diageo, they are keeping the 12-year age statement on the Lagavulin, which is great. However, it is going to be matured in part, I believe, in a tequila cask. So kind of following what they did last year, where they did like a finish. It's not going to be just straight bourbon cask like they were in the past. Last year, it was like, I think they did what did they do? A double charred bourbon cask or something like that, extra charred. And I also found out that most of the Diageo releases this year, with the exception of the Lagavulin, the age is coming down on some of them too. So I think we're going to get younger spirit, a lot of there's some, I think a couple are going to be in rum, there's mezcal, and then the Lagavulin is going to be tequila. Also, MSRP $170. Man, I don't know if I'm willing to spend $170 just on a Lagavulin with a tequila finish. That seems like a little bit of that seems like a stretch for me. But you know, the prices of these keep going up, going up, going up. It's ridiculous. So it's nice that you can still periodically find old, just ex-bourbon cask, 12-year-old cask strength Lagavulin, which I think is honestly one of the best peated whiskeys out there. I've been lucky to have a few of them. I think most recently, the one that impressed me was the 2019 with the Lion, or was that 2021? It was 2019. That one was really good. There was a 2018, I think, that was really solid as well. But these older ones are harder and harder to find. So let's take a look at the color here. This is, again, just ex-bourbon cask, 57.5% ABV. There she is. Lagavulin, 12-year-old, 2011. Before I dive into this, let me just catch up on the chat. Saw some folks jumping in. Mark Lambert's here. What's up, buddy? How are you? Yeah, it was first edition's independent bottled Buna 24 sample that was sent to me. 49.6 ABV. It was nice. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I tried to get it out as early as I could. Glad you guys could come hang out. It's great to see you. Some WS bottling. Nice. I've never had a McDuff. Not that I can think of. 96 outside out there. There's Daniel out there in East Texas on the borderlands. Yeah. Texas doesn't seem to ever get cool. It's been really nice here in Chicago. 70s. Had a couple 60s today, and I think we hit 80 again, but it's been pretty nice weather. Not too excited about this year's lager finished in mezcal. Is it mezcal or tequila? I thought maybe it was tequila, but I could be mistaken. You might be right. I thought it was like a Le Corazon cask. I'm not sure. Either way, I'm a little bit. It's just the $170. Like, I don't know if I would just go automatically buy that for $170. If it was ex-bourbon cask, I'd probably consider it more. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, nice. The one that we're about to drink? Great. Yeah, I've never had it. This is the oldest. Yeah, dusty indeed, right? I have a couple of these, actually. I have a 2012 and a 2014 back there that one of these days we'll get into, and then the 19. But this is the oldest one that I actually have a bottle of. Yeah. Apparently. I mean, what were your thoughts on the one last year with, was it like a virgin? I can't remember. I'm sorry. It was like they did a virgin cask, or they had like another double charred bourbon cask or something. I thought that the release last year was okay. I didn't think it was bad. It lacked a little bit of that, some of the complexity that you can pull out of these, you know, when they're just in the refill bourbon cask. I thought it was a little too heavy, but had a lot of spice. I thought it was solid. I'm not so sure about this tequila cask or mezcal, whichever one it is. I might have been mistaken. I'm saying tequila. 180 Canadian, or 180 Canadian. Yeah. The Lion one is really good. That was a nice bottle. 2021. Yeah, 2018 was the year they stopped doing the art, or they stopped just doing the black boxes and started doing all that art on them too. I think 18 was the last one. Yeah. I have two of them actually. This one I bought overseas. God, I don't even remember when. I found it on a rando site. I'd have to look up which one it was, and they had a couple different years. I'll find it and email it to you. I just got to go dig through some old receipts. Might be able to get another one. Yeah, the lion's head. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, one of the things about Lagavulin that I guess has always been a little bit difficult is that they just don't have that many releases, right? I mean, until they started doing the Offermans, which have been, I think, by and large, okay. I don't know about the one from last year. The Guinness one I kind of liked. You got your 16, you got the 8, and then if you're lucky, you can find a 12. They're not like readily available. And then like that's kind of it for Lagavulin, right? And so there's part of that for me, which makes me kind of want to pull the trigger on a 12, even when it's a little overpriced, is just to get another opportunity to try a different Lagavulin, I don't want to give Diageo any ideas about putting out more, but I've catered to the way they do things at Lagavulin, and I don't think we need to have it. There's that travel exclusive 10, but I don't think we need to mess around with it too much. But they do make me a little bit more interested in trying new ones. I mean, obviously there's the Jazz Fest and the Festival releases, but I mean, those are pretty rare. Might be. It is tequila cask. Still not. Yeah, no, tequila, man. What's that going to do to it? It's already pretty herbal and spicy. I mean, I don't know. Just will have to wait for one of y'all to take the dive on that. Codes, 18 was the last black box. Yeah. I have a 15 and 17 stash. They're so good. Really wish I'd stop messing with this silly cask. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm kind of feeling that as well. And this one this year is definitely not exciting me. Yeah, man, 170. I mean, God, that's so crazy. Might be. yeah, right. Spare. Real talk, man. All right, well, let's check this out again. So the specs on this, again, I love the fact that it still has the old the Victoria, Queen Victoria thing on it, whatever they called those, the healing label. This is 2011, 57.5% ABV. It doesn't, of course, say non-chill or natural on it, but I think we can assume it. I wish they would just put it on these. As for the box, doesn't really say much more. It is one of those old school, and it's one of the thicker boxes too, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I mean that's the tail of the tape here on this one. All right, this one was 12 years ago, so here we go. Lagavulin, Slant, y'all. Good to hang out on a Whisky Wednesday. Here we go. Ooh. Oh man, yeah, there it is. That classic kind of herbaceous bit of like charcoal ashiness, tons of vanilla, caramel, but it's that nice balance of raw young spirit and the cask influence. Some of those kind of, I don't know what you call them, marine qualities, sea qualities, whatever. Maybe a little bit on the seaweed side. It's not salty per se. Dense, rich, intense, in your face. Lots of smoke. Pretty much exactly what you want. There is also a nice little sweet fruit note, almost peach. Lemon lime. Fuck yeah. This is good right here. Let's give it a taste, y'all. Mm. Oh, man. They don't make them like this anymore. Wow. Intense. Lots of smoke. I'm not even going to be able to pull out much on this first taste. I got to go in for another go. All right, here we go. This is exactly what you expect. Heavy dose. Peat smoke, lots of intensity on the palate, spice, kind of fresh cut wood note. Sweetness, though. It just keeps going. I was about to say there's like nice fruit notes. They're not overpowering, but they're showing up, juicy, and then you just get this wave of kind of roasted coffee and dark chocolate that just comes about. It's still going into the finish. A little bit minerality, lots of smoke, peaty. It's just great. It's exactly what it should be. I almost get white chocolate in this too. Man. Oh, wow. It's incredible how much kind of complexity you find in some of these 12-year-olds. Especially, the cask strength is helpful for that. Wow. Sweet and intense. I mean, what else do you want? But there is just subtlety to explore here for sure. I'm going to do one more neat sip. I think I paid like probably $220 USD for this. So worth it. The thing that blows my mind about this is it's just not short. It keeps building. Like it doesn't kind of fall off at the end. This thing is strong right through the finish, and sweet, salt, lemon, lime, citric, herbal. The peat and the smoke are like equal in intensity, and then this nice kind of dark chocolate, subtle, but it's there. Just kind of comes in and smooths over the edges a little bit, takes you into a nice finish. Just an absolute stunningly classic, awesome Lagavulin. Probably the best one I've had. The 2018 is really great. That one is actually, I don't know if I have any left. Maybe we could do a little comparison with the 2000 with the Lion, just to get our bearings, because that is the last straight bourbon cask, right? All right, let's do it. Just for the hell of it. Let me actually get a clean glass for this. You guys can bear with me just a second. Yeah, let's check it out. So this one, 56.5. This is exclusively refill bourbon cask. What year was this? 2021. Sorry. So this is not 2019. This is 2021. I think this is the last just bourbon cask one they did, because 2022 had the charger. Let's just do a little comparison. I don't know if we'll notice anything different or not, but I loved this one. This one was really great. Curious if any of you guys have specific vintages of this that you swear by, or if you're, you just kind of grab whichever ones you can when you see them. I'll let that sit for just a sec and catch up on the chat. Oh yeah, Coates has got some old dusty stash. That's awesome, brother. Very cool. Oh yeah, okay, that's where I was. Insane. It's becoming like Weller, that bourbon or whatever. It's for some reason people love. Barbecue. I still have a few Lagavulin 9s in this. Oh, dude, yes, I forgot. That was the Game of Thrones, right? Yeah, I remember. I think I did a live stream from California where I found a bottle of that for $25. That was a good one. Yeah, that was and then that one had an age statement too, and not all those Game of Thrones one had age statements, if I'm not mistaken. I think they think like we just want different stuff all the time. Like, I'm all for innovation and like trying new things, but you don't got to like ruin the classics, right? Like, were they not getting enough sales of Lagavulin 12 that they need to like spruce it up? I don't know. But they're getting all colorful with the release packaging and all that. Offset, I've been waiting for years. Lot 40 rye cask port finish. Oh, wow. They have a port finish now? We never find any of those here, unfortunately. Toro's in the house. Hey, buddy, from over there in England. How are you, sir? Stay on the island of Britain. I had all the Lag 12s from 2011 to 18. I can't forget for Diageo for the price anymore. It was a ripoff at 90 and more than 100. Yeah, more than 100 pounds. Yeah, so I was just mentioning this. The one that's coming out shortly is a tequila cask finish. And I saw MSRP. I mean, I don't know if this is 100% true, but the MSRP I saw was 170 USD. That's insane. That's way too much for a 12-year-old cask strength. I'm sorry. Good to see Welsh Toro in the house. 2007 says, or 17 says Mike. I've heard that. I've never had an opportunity to try that one, but I've heard that. I believe Food Quig has sung the praises of that one, as well as the 15, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, that's awesome, you guys. Okay, let's do a little side by side. So this is not water yet. This is still the 2011 Lagavulin. This is the 2021. So 10-year difference. Still bourbon cask, 1% less ABV. Okay, so what I can tell you right away on the nose, the thing that stands out to me the most is how much more kind of cask driven the 2000 or cask influence on the nose the 2021 is. It's not like a huge overcoat, but you're getting more kind of classic bourbon notes in lieu of more raw spirit. So people might think that's a good thing. The 2011 is still a bit more raw. All right, let's do it on the palate. I'm going to do the 2021 first. Oh, that's so good. What I'm really looking for here is to see if it falls off a little bit sooner. Sweeter, more fruit, still really good. There's that extra surge of the kind of chocolate note, very similar to the 2011. It's not quite as intense. Okay, so it is. The finish is a little bit shorter, ashier too. Let me go back to the 2011 here. Oh man, that nose. There's just more going on. It's intenser. It's got more depth. Yeah. That's what I'm noticing. Now, these are both 12 years. They're both cask strength. 1% wouldn't make a difference. The 2011 it's got more depth. It's got more intensity, longer finish. Nice mint note coming in. It's a bit more raw and elemental kind of herbaceousness than the 2021. So maybe we're getting something a little bit more refined in that one. Still, I think these are both, well over 4 out of 5 whiskeys. Price considered, of course. But this 2011, something special. I don't notice a huge difference. Again, these are all so different every year. I just feel like there's a little bit more going on with the 2011, and there's a bit more depth and a bit more intensity. And by depth, I mean there's just like other flavor notes that kind of are getting teased out as you sip on it. It's just got more weight to it. Let's put a little water on both. Why not? Let's check it out. And then coming up, y'all, just by the way, again, a shout out to Guy in Virginia Beach for this sample. The second sample he sent me, we're going to be trying the Bowmore 27-year-old Vinter's series, Vinter's Trilogy. So he sent me a sample of this. He says it's one of his favorite whiskeys of all time. So I'm very excited to try that. Let's put like 2 drops of water on each of these. I wish these were more easy to find. And I'm just not sure I'm going to spend $170 on the tequila cask. Yes, you can still, I think, if you look overseas, you can probably still find it. It's a good one. I think there was controversy. People disagreed about whether the 2019 was good or not. The 2020 was universally kind of not considered one of the better ones, but the 2021 is awesome. There's our boy out in the Sun Valley holding it down somewhere in the Arizona desert. Phoenix Metro, it's Leo. How you doing, buddy? Great to see you, man. Sipping on anything? Awesome to have you in the house. All right, here we go. With water, we'll start with the 2011. More fruit. It still just retains that core boistiness to it. Diesel. Oh, man. Softens the palate, but then the intensity build. This is absolutely great with water. Wow. You get like sweet, much more profound sweet fruit notes right away. And then boom, heavy peat, dark chocolate, charcoal ash. Oh, man. And there's that nice finish, that surge as you get into the finish of the roasted coffee and the dark chocolate. It's just freaking amazing. Yeah, this is worth the 200. Now, water on the 2021. The nose, again, very similar. Sweeter. I'm almost getting more like brighter fruits on this. Still working, he says. It's a little early for you out there in the Arizona desert, I suppose. But we'll have a drink for you. All right, here we go. I mean, it's great. Bit sweeter, bit more, I don't want to say balanced, but not as much depth, but still really, really strong. Very similar profiles. I mean, you could probably you'd have to sit down with a notebook to tease the subtle differences here, especially with all the intensity. But look, I think both of these are really, really good. I think the 2011 is a little better. It's a little more interesting, but no slouch on the 2021. Obviously, we can't compare it to the one from last year because it has the extra cask influence. And then, of course, the one this year with the tequila cask. Somebody's going to have to buy it and send me a sample because I don't think it's going to be me, y'all. I don't think it's going to be me. I'm a little suspect about that tequila cask. Has anybody had a tequila cask scotch before? I know there's like a Kilchoman. Kilchoman's got everything finished, but I'd love to hear what people's thoughts are on it. I can't say I have had one. I also know that in the Diageo releases this year, there's going to be the Oban, I believe, or the Kleinlich has a rum finish. I've never really been impressed with rum finishes on scotch. I've always found them to be kind of, distracting and not complimentary. He says it ain't going to be. Come on, Coates. Take one for the team. We all got to throw money in a hat. Somebody's got to go buy this thing. Coates. Leo says 17 Lagavulin got me into Pete. Nice. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about that. Mark Lambert. Wish I could stay, but he's got to get going. Thank you, man. It's great to see you down there in Brazil. Awesome to have you in the house. We got some folks over there in the UK. We got Brazil in the house, man. Awesome to see everybody. Thanks for stopping in, Mark. I'm passing on the Oban tequila too. The Kleinlich looks good. I think is the Kleinlich the rum one? One of them is. The Kleinlich or the Oban is a rum cask, and then another one's tequila. Rum cask, man. I think the first one I had was Ardbeg Drum, so not exactly a great introduction to it. But the Caribbean cask, Balvenie was okay. I just don't feel like I would. I feel like I would buy the Balvenie rum cask because if I was going to be drinking, trying to get somebody into Scotch, right? Trying to show them Scotch. Hi, Winston. Come here. Come on up and say hi. Okay, you're just going to roll around. We got a Winston the Whiskey Cat sighting. He has shown up. Come here. He's grumpy as all hell. Winston the Whiskey Cat in the house. Maybe he'll stay. Maybe he won't. We should see what he thinks of the Lagavulin. What do you think about this 12-year-old 12 Lagavulin? No? He's got the most discerning palate, I swear. Right. Oof, that's interesting. That's an interesting one. I don't think I've had any Balcones rum now that I think about it. The Springbank. Oh, yes. Yeah, we need Mahir to check in from India. Yeah. Or Kapil. Yeah, indeed. Winston, the grumpy whiskey cat. He had some dental surgery not so long ago, so he was a little bit down for the count, but he's back at it, of course, being his normal prickish self in all the best ways. Anyways, so look, yeah, part of me thinks there's an allure of buying something that's old because we just assume that it's, or like an older release of something, we just assume that it's going to be better. And I think in a lot of cases people find that to be true. I mean, at the end of the day, these are still just 12-year-old cask strength Lagavulins, right? Spending $200 on this was definitely a reach. I would probably say it was maybe worth it, but I can't say that. Like, I mean, I've seen some of the other ones from like 2007 or something. They're like $400. Like, come on, like you're just buying that to put on your shelf or something and never drink because like it's a 12-year-old cask strength Lagavulin. Come on. But it is, I think, and I think I've said this before too. It is, to me, in the holy trinity of like whiskeys from Islay that just exemplify the island and the style of the whiskey. Lagavulin 12 cask strength is in that trinity for me. Or let's put it this way: it's on my Mount Rushmore. There's probably 4 that I could think of from Islay that would be like, these are Islay whiskeys, and this would be one. Ugadal, also another. Love to hear what other ones. What would you all put on your Mount Rushmore of Islay whiskeys if you were going to pick 4 whiskeys to just like showcase the style and essence of Islay? What would be your Mount Rushmore? I'd love to hear what folks got to say. Lag 12 cask strength, definitely for me. Ugadal, I'll tell you my other 2 as we go along. But yeah, I mean, scoring this, I mean, this is a 4.5 whiskey to me. It's just killer. It's perfect. Thanks, Donner. He's doing good. Appreciate it. Hey, Quad Cities, just on the other side of Illinois. What's up, buddy? How you doing, Chris? Man, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Good to have Chris in the house. Oh, interesting. Gotcha. Okay. Mike says, okay. LP10 CD. I'm assuming that this is probably my third. And are you talking about this? Yeah. Lefroy 10 cask strength is also on my Mount Rushmore of Islas. Ugadal. I mean, I love our Big Ten. Don't get me wrong. But Ugadal to me is always something special, something a little extra. And yeah, I'd put that on there. Lefroy 10 cask strength, Lagavulin 12 cask strength, and I'll tell you the other one in just a sec. I'd love to hear what other folks got to say here. What we got? PC 10, Port Charlotte 10. Okay. Let's say somebody's got to put some Bruichladdich up here, right? You're good. I figured you were right, and you're absolutely right on that. Bowmore, they're marrying, but it's long discontinued. Ooh. Mr. White, do you still got a bottle of that somewhere in your catacombs? Bowmore Vault Edition 1, Port Charlotte 10, Lefroy 10 cask. Wow. Okay. Well, you can get 4, so we'll do Mount Rushmore instead of the Trinity. So you can have 4. Damn, that's a nice list, man. I never did have that Bowmore Vault Edition, but Leo 10 cask strength Oogie, either Lagavulin 12 or PC 10. Well, you can have both. Yeah, seems like we're all kind of in the same wheelhouse on this. Buna 12 cask strength from. Yeah, you're not messing around, man. So my 4th for the Mount Rushmore would be Port Charlotte MCO1, which is the Marsala cask. I think that would be my choice for that one. Agreed. What is it, buddy? It's not Tom Freedy, man. Come on, I'm trying to do a whiskey show. Yeah, I actually have a bottle of Kalila 25 back there. The only thing that's, it sucks because they're all 43. I've always said indie bottle Kalilas are, especially on the young side, indie bottle Kalilas are the way to go. But I like the kind of subtle refinement of that 25. I kind of agree with Coates on that. I figured you did, man. I figured you did. Older Oogies are stellar. Yeah, man. Oogie was one of, I think, the second ever euphoric malt moment I ever had was with the New Goodell. Octomores, yeah. Anybody got the new Octos yet? Nice. Yeah. Awesome. All right. I'm going to get my palate a little cleansed here. Some water. Because I saved potentially the best for last, but definitely the non-bourbon cask for last. I think intentionally. I think it might have been D.H. Silv too, who was like, "Oh, finish with the sherry peat before you do do the bourbon peat first, because the sherry peat usually torches your palate." I think he's right about that. Here's Mr. White, Buna 12 CS. What is that? Oh, you can't get those in Canada. Damn, that's lame. Those are pretty impressive. The 2022 is actually fighting with two other whiskeys in my current battle in my head for my whiskey of the year this year, which I think I'll probably drop in the next 4 to 5 weeks. So keep an eye out for that. Buna 12 cask strength from 2022 is in that running. Damn. Yeah, hard pass. Although I like those 0.3 Isla Barleys. I also like the 0.2s a lot because they do something kind of wild with the finishes and stuff. But yeah, man, $300, forget that. 700. Get all that noise. All right. Yeah, okay. So my final thoughts here on this Lagavulin, like it's awesome. I'm a little disappointed that they seem to be following a trend now of funky finishes on these. I really always felt like this was a whiskey that you could depend on for just like a classic heavy cask strength Lagavulin peated Isla whiskey. Obviously, Lefroy 10 cask strength still fits the bill for that. One of my favorite whiskeys ever. But yeah, I maybe after this tequila cask thing, they'll right the ship. I definitely am not into it. It seems like they're trying to go with a theme across like all of the Diageo special releases every year. And unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I'm not hearing a lot of excitement, nor am I hearing a lot of praise for people who've had things that have tequila cask. All right. That's fantastic. We got 12 folks in, which is awesome, man. It's great to see y'all. Okay. I got to go to the phone here to give you guys the tail of the tape here on this last one. Again, this is a sample sent to me by Guy out in Virginia. Appreciate you again, man, for this sample. So this is we're gonna have a lot to unpack about this. So first and foremost, here it is. This is a Bowmore. It is 27 years old, bottled in 2018. It's part of the Vinter's Trilogy, which they did obviously a trilogy. They did 3 releases under this Vinter series. This is ex-bourbon barrel and port wine pipes, 48.3% ABV, 27 years old. Not an easy bottle to get your hands on. And according to Whiskey Base, the average value is 112 euros, or 812 euros, which is just crazy. So, wow. This is a serious Bowmore. I've had it sitting out here for a good hour, so it's got as much oxygen as it's going to get. Nice. Yeah, it's about what it is here too, unfortunately. It's good. It's a solid whiskey. Maybe a little too much sherry, but it's a good whiskey. So, Bowmore. Now, Mike B is who's in the house. I know you have sent me a really nice Bowmore in the past, but Bowmore has been a distillery on Isla that I've largely not explored and maybe intentionally avoided. And I think the reason for that is that early in the journey, I tried the Bowmore 12, and I was really disappointed. It was very light, languid. It lacked any depth, not much complexity. I also had a Bowmore 15, not the one that was called the darkest, but I think it was just regular 15. I just wasn't impressed at all. They were low ABV. They lacked a lot of really anything interesting. And then, you read about distilleries like Bowmore amongst your whiskey pals, and it seems like it's a distillery that at one point in time was, in high regard, and maybe not so much these days. So Bowmore, I would say, of all the Islay distilleries, is definitely the one I know the least about. So the fact that I'm going to drink a 27-year-old Bowmore here is going to be a shock to the palate, because I really don't have any bearings at all on Bowmore's style. So I'd be curious what folks' thoughts are in the chat about Bowmore generally, or if Bowmore is a distillery that you guys look for. If so, which bottles would you recommend? If you don't really gravitate towards Bowmore, is it for the same reasons I do, the fact that there's tons of dye in all of it these days, in the core range at least? Would love to hear what you guys have to say. And I'm going to get nose in this Bowmore. Again, this is the 27-year-old Bowmore Vintner's Trilogy port and bourbon cask, 48.3% ABV. Yeah. This is going to be quite something. Bowmore core range is a no-go, so sad. Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard. Oh, hell yeah. Great bottle. Okay, we got that. Independent bottle Bowmore. I don't think I've ever seen one of those. But that makes sense. It's kind of like Kahlua in that way, right? When it's right, expect modest peat and a base of tropical fruit. That sounds perfect. Mr. White, I'm looking at you in particular. Have you ever had this Vintner's Trilogy Bowmore? Interesting. All right. I'm going to dive into the nose. For some reason, I feel like Mr. White would have had one of these. Mike B. Very nice. Here we go. Okay. Wow. So this is the first time I've ever got this specific type of red fruit note. I'm going to think about how to describe this, but it's very unique. I'm not getting a lot of peat or smoke on this, but the note from the port pipe, yeah. It's like dense raspberry, like a raspberry compote or something. It's really concentrated and almost has a little bit of a mustiness to it. Wow. They used to be good. Temp is 10 every year, but nothing, way overpriced. Elements of Islay Bowmores were great. Okay, that's good to know. I don't think I've ever seen any of those. This is interesting. So the port is really prominent on the nose here, but my God, it somehow isn't stealing the show. There's also some nice sweet kind of vanilla notes. Honey, very light smoke. I'm picking up a little bit of it. I was expecting almost maybe like a barbecue note on this, and I'm not getting it. The fruit is sweet and fresh, but also dense and almost musty. It's crazy. And again, it's just kind of like your raspberry red fruit kind of note here. Maybe even a little bit of cherry. I've heard about that one. Yeah, jeez. That was also a Vintner Trilogy, right? If I'm not mistaken, maybe that was the second one. Yeah. Yeah. With that, thank you, Guy, again, for sending me this sample. Let's check it out. He said this is one of his favorite whiskeys ever, so we're going to give it a try. Really, on the nose here, it is a very dense, concentrated red fruit note, but it's not overpowering. There's some nice kind of light vanilla and caramel notes around it. A little bit of like floral peat. That's about it. Let's give it a try. Let's launch. Here we go. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Okay. I was just about to be like, this seems a little bit light and restrained. And then you get the second wave of it. Wow, this is quite something. I got to do another sip here, and I'll share with you guys what I think about it. Holy cow. Okay. It's almost light and a little restrained on the initial palate, sweet fruit, but then it just blows up, and you get a nice chocolate note. There's a roasted note. There's some spice, almost like almost slightly like rye. The fruit note just coats your entire mouth, and it's more like a raspberry cream kind of flavor. It's strong but subtle in its. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you've probably had some whiskeys where it's like the fruit note is really strong, but it doesn't steal the entire show. That's what's going on here. Ton of vanilla. Oh man, nice kind of slightly dry finish with some oak. There's a little bit of that peat. The peat is so subtle. It's really, really nice. This is really impressive. I can see why you really love this. Fantastic nose. Again, medium bodied at first, and then right when you swallow, you just get this surge of all these flavors. Dried red fruits, kind of Christmas cake. Sweet, a bit of spice, huge flavor, lots of layers, awesome whiskey. I can see why this is as expensive as it is. If you poured it for me blind, I wouldn't even probably know that this was an Islay whiskey. I would maybe, if it was anything, I'd guess it could potentially be a Bunnahabhain. That's just because I don't know a lot about Bowmore. But this is really impressive. And again, I think, let me just see here. Yeah, ex-bourbon barrel and port wine. It is, yeah, average value is pretty insane. Wow. The only thing I guess I would say about this that doesn't, the one thing that I'm a little surprised by is it still doesn't have quite that weight and depth that I would expect at 48% for a whiskey this old. And when I think about comparisons, I'm thinking about like a Boone at 25, or let me think, what else would be a good example? Even like some of the, the Port Charlotte 16 to some degree, that just have that extra weight. Like this has a lot of layers to it, but it doesn't quite have that that intense core of like richness to it that I was somewhat expecting. And I think it's a minor slight, and it's the only thing really I could slight this for. Otherwise, it's a lighter whiskey. You do get a nice flavor surge in it. It's got a little bit of peat, well balanced on the finish and the maturations here. This is quite a masterclass whiskey. Really impressive. Maybe I do need to find some Bowmores. I don't know. Let me see what you guys are saying. I had a sample of the Aston Martin. Very good, but still too expensive. Oh, that's right. They have a series out, right, of that? Might be. Yeah, right, Serge. Yeah, that's exactly. It is. This is a whiskey, for sure. Incredibly drinkable. You wouldn't even know it was 27 years. I think that's the only thing that's thrown me off. It just doesn't have quite the richness that I was expecting, but minor. I mean, this is a 4.25 out of 5 whiskey all day long. All day long. Yeah, feel you on that. Raspberry is a very specific. Yeah, that's what I'm really feeling on this. It's very raspberry, man. Sadly, Bowmore is aimed at luxury goods market. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think you guys are right. I mean, I never really hear a lot of talk about Bowmore, other than like people talking about how it used to be, right? Hey man, it was great to see you, Mike. Always good to see you, man. Hopefully, I'll be putting out more content lately. I took a little bit of time away, but I'll be back on, man. It was great to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Oh, and speaking of stopping in, here's our boy right here. It's Rod. What's up, buddy? If you guys are beer fans, craft beers, just like talking beer, all things beer, this is the channel you want to check out. Rod's great people. Does a live every Thursday still. If I'm not mistaken, and just does great content all the time. It's great to see you, man. Hope you had a good rest of your summer, buddy. Good to have Rod in the house. I'm going to put a couple drops of water on this Bowmore. I'm a little afraid to do too much. I'm going to do like 3 drops. No, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to do like 2 drops. Let's try 2. Yeah, man, it's good to see you, buddy. It has been a minute. Yeah, I haven't done much. I haven't done anything since I tried to do a live like 6 or 7 weeks ago, and my freaking internet, we had some storms here and it just went crazy and I couldn't unfortunately finish it. All right, let's see where this goes with the water. Again, can't emphasize enough. Drop a water or two on old whiskeys is great. Don't drown it though. Younger whiskeys, I feel like, can take the water more. See, this is just going in all directions now. Less concentrated fruit, more kind of herbal eucalyptus type thing. But still, almost like cranberry. I don't know. I don't want to go too off the rails with it, but I always seem to like whiskeys more with a couple drops of water. Getting light. So you ever had one of those old Glenfarclas distillery bottles, the 25, the 21, and the first time you drink it, you're like, this is weirdly light on the palate for as old as it is. That's how this Bowmore is. It does have a little bit on the back end of half, but that's the only thing I'm picking up that I'm like a little surprised. It's not as like molasses or sticky. It's not as full. But as it stands, this is great. Getting some of that dry oak now too. What a great whiskey. This is one of the better port influenced whiskeys I think I've ever had. I'm not a huge port fan, but this one is killing it. Great stuff. That's awesome. So we got still got 12 folks in, which is awesome, dude. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit longer. We can talk about a few more of these whiskeys. I still got some more of this Lagavulin to finish up. But I do just want to say hi and thanks to everybody again for coming and hanging out. It's been a while. I should have some more reviews up, and I do think I'll have. I got 3 whiskeys fighting for my whiskey of the year, and I guess I can tell you what they are. Right now, it is the Bunnahabhain 12 cask strength 2022 edition, the Campbelltown Lock, and the Glenturret 12. These are the whiskeys that I have been really kind of impressed with this year for whiskeys of the year. So. These are the 3 that are fighting it out. I'm going to probably figure out some way to do content on that, whether it's just going to be doing a top 3 or something like that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to sharing it. The Campbelltown Lock in specific has been what a pleasant surprise, especially given the way Springbank prices have been going. I mean, it's not everything you want, but it's it's good. And I think there, a couple of them had been more sherry than others, stuff like that. It's cool. And I cannot stop drinking this Bowmore. Just awesome. For the last time, thank you, Guy, out in Virginia, for sending me these samples. Really awesome stuff. All 3 of these whiskeys have been great. The Lagavulin meets kind of the expectations I had. This Bowmore is probably a little bit better, and the Bunna was solid. I think. Any of these whiskeys, I would be happy to have more than 1 dram of. So, it's always cool to get to try new stuff. I'd be curious if anybody has had anything, thinking about the whiskeys they've tried for the first time this year, if there's been anything that they really has stood out to them. And if they're one of the 3 that I've had is one of those, I don't know. Oh, this is the Lagavulin, yeah. My next review, by the way, which should probably drop in the next probably 2 weeks at most, is going to be Mortlock 20. What is it called? Cowie Seal? Something like that. I've been wanting to record it for a while, but it's a whiskey that's just been so kind of beguiling. Every time I drink it, I'm kind of going in a different direction with it. So the notes I've taken are all over the place, but I think I've finally got to a place where I can talk about it in a way that will make sense. So you'll keep an eye out for that. And to Donner Pass, to your point, I'm going to keep trying to post as early as I can, or with as much heads up time about any live streams that I'm going to do. All right, y'all. Well, with that, maybe I'll do one more dram. I don't know. Or we could just wrap it right here and catch up again on the flip side. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to drink the rest of this Lagavulin, man. It's great to see everybody. Good to hang out. I haven't went anywhere. I'll be back. Try to keep everybody posted on new lives. And until then, stay safe, be well, y'all. Have a good rest of the eve. It's lunch.